Bravosky with Up Your Creative Genius. Are you feeling stuck and wondering how you can get motivated again? Or maybe you just had a weird interaction with a collaborator and you're wishing you had a magic wand that you could wave over the thing. What if you could put your finger on the pulse every day and grab the information and the answers that you need in every moment? Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, you can. Years ago, I was an artist in residence in a remote area of Idaho. And I loved being a drama person in the classroom, and that communities and the communities I traveled to, they often didn't have an artist ever in the community or in their school before. So there I was teaching drama to kids. And so my first school experience went really great. And I loved the week that I was with them. It ended in a theater performance that they had created all on their own. Each class had their own section of it. It was amazing. So I went into my second school in this community feeling really confident. I knew I was going to nail it, and I felt really high from the experience. Well, my first day in my last classroom, which was like a 5th grade class, at the end of the day, I like to send them off with a high. So I would separate them in 2 lines facing each other on either side of the classroom. And then I'd have them run up to their partner, touch their elbows together and run back. Run up to their partner and touch their toes together and run back. And then in this wild act, I decided at the end, I said, run up to your partner and kiss your partner and run back. And of course, knowing that they wouldn't do it, they're 5th graders, it wasn't about that, it was a fun activity. And then I go, no, I'm just kidding. But unbeknownst to me, a couple of girls went up to each other, covered their mouths, and then pretended to kiss. So, the next morning, I go back into the school, and there's a whole line of parents outside the principal's office. And I'm thinking, I gave them the wave and say hi, and they give me the full-on stink eye. And suddenly I get this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, I don't know what just happened, but that wasn't good. About 15 minutes later, the principal called me into his office. And he said that the parents had come in and complained that I was spreading homosexuality into the community. Now, this was way back in the 80s. And so, back in those days, it was pretty risky to be in any community and be out as a gay person. So I had never told a single soul I was gay. I was not going to share that experience with anybody. But of course, this was I looked different, and so then I was different. So he sent me home. After the day was out, he said, well, we'll see what happens. We're not sure what to do. I apologized and said I was so sorry. It was just a fun game, and explained it to him. Well, that night, I went home and I thought, wow, this is really scary. I'm in a remote area of Idaho. I could be tar and feathered in this town, run out of town, or worse. So I went into my house that I was staying at, which, when an artist in residence would come into town, they'd put them in this little, like an empty house. They'd give you a bed and a table, maybe a few utensils, but that was your home. And so I went back to this empty house, and I was petrified. And as the night fell, I walked out and I just watched the stars up there come out in the sky, and I thought, wow, I asked the universe, please give me some guidance. What can I do? What's going to happen? So I go back into my house and into the room that was my bedroom. And I had been learning how to meditate or trying to teach myself how, and I'd been practicing this technique where you sit down, you imagine yourself outside of your body looking back, and you sing this word Hu, which is an ancient name for God. And, it doesn't belong to any religion, but it is the sound behind all sounds. They sang it to the sun god. The word Alleluia comes from it. So I sing this word. I imagine myself outside. Now, in the past, I'd had no experience with this. Nothing ever happened. But this night, with my heart broken open, this amazing thing happened. I felt this energy build in my body and come up until I burst into a million pieces. And suddenly I felt myself connected to everything and everybody. And I knew that I was love, that everything in the world was love, and that I would be okay no matter what happened. I was loved. And then as soon as it started, it was over. But it gave me the confidence to know that I could go back into that school the next day, and so I did. I realized that I was there to help them understand change, and that was my first experience with my creative genius showing me something at a deep, deep level. Well, I finished off that week, and I finished off a couple of weeks in the same school, and at the end of it, they had a fantastic performance. Everyone had totally forgotten about what happened. I did a 5K run with them. I won. They gave me a medal. And at the final ceremony, the principal said, "Thank you so much for transforming our community. You really did." And it showed me that if you can stick and listen inward to what's happening for you, that you will always have a solution and you'll always have an answer. But I knew that I had to commit to what I was doing, and that my commitment that night made the difference between me going back to the old way, which might have been to leave that town and just disappear in the night, or to stand up and be the artist that I was and help that city transform, that little school and town transform. And so my challenge for you, your mission, should you choose to accept it this week, is to, one, identify an area in your life where you've longed to make a change, but maybe you haven't been able to for some reason. Something got in your way, I don't know, illness or kids or, your job or your health, right? And so I want you to identify an area where you've longed for it, and then write it in the center of a circle. Do this in your Creative Genius You journal that you started last week. Write it in here, and I just wrote an example like my offering, because maybe you're wondering what your new business is going to be or what it is you bring to the world. And so write in there something where you've longed to have a change. And then around the outside, I want you to write the things that you've let block you for one reason or another. Maybe it was your fear or fatigue. Maybe it was your fill in the blank or your fill in the blank. Write them here. It's good to acknowledge them and put them out there where you can see them, all of them. So pull up the deep-rooted ones if you can. And once you've done it, turn the page, and on a fresh page, I ask you to write a commitment to changing this area in your life. You don't need to know how or when it's going to happen, but just write that commitment to yourself. I commit to changing or change X. Write it in there, sign your name, and date it. And then close your journal and go on with your rest of your week. And I can't wait to see what you have written. So if you're willing to share it, any piece of this with me, post it in the Facebook group, or you can also just send me an email, Patty@UpYourCreativeGenius. I can't wait to see how you are going to transform in these weeks that come. So just fantastic you. I love you. I'll see you soon. Until next time, up your creative genius. Let's do this.
Shawty.